Well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad. All of these were always going to be bad, and they always seem to be the worst they ever possibly could be. So, no, I think we should demand better.
Honestly, Bill Maher, stay on the left, because I don't mind you being on their side and calling them out for their hypocrisy, for their ridiculousness, their lack of accountability, especially with what's going on here in California with the fires. They don't want to take personal responsibility for the incompetence in making sure or taking preventative measures to stop this coming or this being what it is to the extent that it is. So I appreciate him being on the left and coming at them. We're going to go over that. He had Tim Z interviewing him. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to RTM News because it ensures that YouTube you're enjoying our videos, and in turn, they will continually show up in your feed and then they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into these videos.
Karen Bass is taking a lot of heat. So is Gavin Newsom. But there's going to be a recall on Karen Bass. We will see what happens. But a lot of people think she failed in terms of leadership and, you know, where budget cuts may have affected the fire department. And there are other people who are saying, how dare you even talk about that in the middle of the fire? So where do you stand?
Well, we all took a lot of heat. I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. You know, we shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy, which is what conservatives always say after a mass shooting. This is not the time to politicize it. And then it never is. It is absolutely the time to talk about it. And this is what my editorial is about Friday night on the show.
It's not quite the same thing. Us saying Karen Bass, who literally cut funding from the fire department, so they weren't able to have the resources to do what they needed to do, paralleled with a shooting happening, people immediately blaming Republican legislation or the lack of legislation on gun restrictions when guns aren't the problem, people are. It's a false equivalency. I wouldn't say that that's accurate, but of course he has to crap on the Republicans a little bit in order to bash on the liberals, or else he loses his whole fan base or his following. So I guess it's allowed. That's just not true though. And Karen Bass, it's so convenient that you just cut the budget and then a massive fire happens. It's very interesting.
Was it always going to be bad? Of course. Their arguments are not wrong. We built the city in a terrible place to build a city. Global warming absolutely does make hot stuff and weather worse. The winds were ridiculous. Yeah, I get all that. And they also made a lot of errors. And if you held Bush accountable for Katrina and thought Rudy Giuliani was an idiot for putting the command center in the World Trade Center, which is the place they attacked for and were most likely to attack again, which he was, well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad. All of these were always going to be bad, and they always seem to be the worst they ever possibly could be. So, no, I think we should demand better.
100%. Keep the same energy. You can't. It's so hypocritical to be so like, oh, we're not going to pass blame. We're not going to call anyone out or anything like that. No, hold those people accountable. Hold those people responsible for what they were lacking in, what their inability to actually prioritize the people of their city and making sure that things were taken care of, such as water being filled in the fire hydrants. That's insane. That's literally the purpose for the fire hydrants, is for there to be water in them, and there wasn't. At least they weren't full. That's crazy. That is incompetence to the nth degree, and you should 100% be able to call them out for their lack of efficiency in making sure that that these people were safe. You know how many houses have been burnt down? So many people's livelihood, like photo albums, like memories from people that are no longer even with us maybe, and they just lost that because of incompetence. Like, this is something that to be taken seriously. It was not okay that this happened, especially when there were preventative measures that could have taken place to stop it from being as extreme as it is. And you need to hold these people in power's feet to the fire. You need to make sure, no pun intended, you need to make sure that these people know that they need to do their job. You are elected because of the competence the people that elected you thought that you had. Live up to it, or else get called out and kicked out. It's unacceptable, completely unacceptable. We have another clip here with Bill Maher, so I'm gonna play this. It's so funny seeing him on TMZ, because TMZ is just like, you wouldn't think of them as the ones that would have any sort of like real information. I mean, I don't watch TMZ, but it's always like the tabloid celebrity paparazzi stuff that I scroll past. So anyways, let's play this clip.
You know, I watch your show every Friday night when you're on. And I followed your journey trying to get the necessary permits to take down a shed in your backyard over a period of, I believe, more than a year. And
no, that's what I had to build. I was trying
building
to get
the shed.
The solar. This is for your solar.
The solar.
Yeah.
Trying to get the solar hooked up, which, by the way, is what the state wants you to do.
If it took you a year and going on television every week shaming the state to build a shed for solar,
Just to get solar panels.
when you look at the red tape with the Coastal Commission, with building and safety, with all of the rigmarole you have to go through to build a house, and especially after hillsides may be compromised and whatnot, and you look at the scope of this, how optimistic are you that that could change enough so that LA can rebuild?
I always think there's a middle of the road, actual practical solution to everything. And for this, I would say, was California's uber progressive politics the cause of this fire? Of course not. Did it impede them to some degree? Absolutely. That's the margin of error.
Let's not act like it didn't have a massive part to play. I mean, the fire chief is literally a DEI hire, and her goal was to get a bunch DEI hires put into the fire station or into her department. Like that was the goal. These people's priorities are not what they should be. These progressive policies and this progressive push to make everything about equality and make everything about representation and all this stuff, not focusing on the actual issues at hand that matter. Like, firefighters should be a bunch of tall, strong, strapping men that can grab a 250-pound man who's on the floor in a burning building. They should be able to pick him up with ease and drag him out so he can live. You don't need some 5-foot, 300-pound woman trying to do, like, why? Oh, it's just a dream of hers. She can't save that man's life. Practicality is what matters here. Like, use your brain. It's absolutely insane. That progressiveness, that progressive mentality that we all are the same, we're not. We're not. Some of us can do things that others can't. I'm 6'3", 220. I could grab someone and pull them out. I would trust someone that looked like me and had the capabilities that I have to pull me out of a burning building, obviously without the training. I don't have the training. As opposed to having someone who's some 5'4", like 120-pound woman who's just always wanted to be a firefighter. Like, that's just not practical. Not to say your dreams don't matter, but like, come on. You gotta be kidding me. It is the progressive nonsense. You can try and say what you want, but it 100% is.
I'm saying we can't abide by anymore. Now, as far as the red tape, I see that they're all, Newsom, Bass, they're all saying, we're going to cut red tape, as if they're doing us a favor. My question is, well, if you can do it now, why don't you always do it? Obviously, it can be done. It's not a favor to us to cut the red tape. Why do we live in this state, in this red tape nightmare, the other times of the year when we're not on fire?
Yeah, because these politicians don't care. The goal is never to make life better for you. It's in order to enforce whatever it is that they want to do. I mean, especially in a place like California, like, I don't even think they tricked you. They're just a woke state. Like, this is what we're going to do. Okay. Like, oh man, I just feel my heart goes out to everyone that's struggling right now. People have lost their homes, lost their memories, lost just so much. It's just so unfortunate this is happening. And yeah, again, we just pray for those people. And if anyone's lost their life, it's just, or their dog or something, these things they're tragic. Again, my heart goes out to you guys, and I hope you guys are praying for them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. Want to know your guys' thoughts are on this. Is Bill Maher doing the right thing, coming against his side, even and remaining on that side, or do you think he should just come over to the right? I want to know your thought on that as well. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.